With Monday Night Raw for February 13th coming to an end, let's talk about what happened in that episode in today's Wrestling Ramble. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. So we watched Monday Night Raw. Well, I say we because I hope you did as well, that I didn't have to suffer alone. It wasn't too bad. I watched Monday Night Raw, and let's just go ahead and get into it. Let's quit with the preliminary talking points. Let's just go straight into it. To start out Monday Night Raw, we had Becky Lynch, Bayley, and Bianca Belair have a segment in the opener. It started out between Becky and Bayley. They were doing some bickering, and eventually a triple threat match is made between Becky Lynch, Bayley, Bianca Belair for later in the night. If Becky and Bayley win, they are added to the Elimination Chamber. If Bianca Belair wins, no one's added. Of course, there's going to be a match in Elimination Chamber to determine who will be facing Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's title. We move on to the Judgment Day is seen backstage. My main takeaway from this is Dominik Mysterio still seems a bit timid when speaking. He's getting used to this, doing promos and whatnot, being a heel. He's going to fill these shoes at some point. He's going to get better at it, but it's going to take some time. Thankfully, he has Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley with him. And then we get into the segment after, which is the Street Profits versus the Judgment Day. The match starts out. Immediately, I noticed the "We Want Mami" chants. The fans want to see Rhea Ripley. This was mentioned by Dominik prior in the promo segment backstage with the Judgment Day. And then we have the picture-in-picture, which I have such a hard time watching the match that's going on with the commercial that's even more blown up. But we come back from picture-in-picture with a top rope move. I was going to do a little bit on this video where I complain about, oh, picture-in-picture is terrible, and I wish we could go back to the past where we would come back and the commentators are going, drop, toe hold, hip toss, oh, here we are, fans, we're back. Like, there was you would tell the wrestlers in the ring, okay, do this spot, start picking up the pace, we're coming back live. But I think they figured it out with the picture-in-picture. Anyway, we get to a mega blockbuster move that looked great from the Street Profits onto the Judgment Day, and then Finn Balor gets the coup de grace to win the match. And after the bout, Damian Priest gets one of the Street Profits, I don't remember who it was, into the corner, starts landing some elbows, and I made a note of this, that those elbows looked great. Usually when I see elbows in a match, they don't look that good, and this looked absolutely phenomenal. Damian Priest has incredible elbows. Those look great. There was, of course, a little bit of an afterbirth with Edge and Beth Phoenix coming down to the ring, and the crowd got Mami. Rhea Ripley came out, took out Beth Phoenix. Edge came to her aid, and we continue the storyline between Judgment Day, Edge, and Beth Phoenix. We move on to the contract signing between Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. Of course, Lesnar makes his way out first. He interrupts Adam Pearce, who is facilitating this contract signing. Lesnar has thrown a chair out of the ring and orders Adam Pearce to speed things up, get Lashley out here, demands Bobby come out himself, and then we see the security detail come out, and I'm like, great, we're going to have one of these segments where the security detail hold back a big brawl between Lesnar and Lashley, but failed to do so. But then they bring out a table and chair, and I'm like, oh, this is nice. We've taken a little turn from what I expected. Lashley comes out. Eventually, after Lashley pokes the bear, so to speak, Lesnar takes the contract himself, tries to walk it up to him, has to go through a few security men to get to Lashley. Lashley eventually gets a hold of him, gets a spear on him, signs the contract, throws it on him. Great way to build up this match for Elimination Chamber. We move on to a backstage segment with Baron Corbin, which is almost immediately interrupted, which I think is so funny since JBL just threw Baron Corbin to the side and said, you're done, I'm not going to be managing you. He gets interrupted. Kathy Kelly says, hold on, we got someone in the ring, and it's Sami Zayn, who has his hood on. He has snuck into Raw, and he requests that Cody Rhodes come out to the ring. Cody Rhodes, of course, obliges, comes out, and this is a great move by WWE. Acknowledge the fact that you have two giant baby faces. The two biggest baby faces that you have in WWE right now are Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn, and advertise the fact that they could be facing each other at WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes gives Sami Zayn a good pep talk. Sami gets the crowd behind him saying, I don't know know if I can beat Roman Reigns, but Cody gets the crowd behind Sami saying, you're the one that caused a crack in the bloodline. You're the one that is so doubt within this faction. You can beat him. And it was just such a great moment between Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes. We move on. Of course, we go right back to Baron Corbin, who is making a big deal about being cut off by Sami Zayn. He then starts taking digs at Cody Rhodes, his brother, who shall remain nameless in WWE, Dustin Rhodes. And then he starts talking about how he doesn't even like his father, Dusty Rhodes. And then Cody comes and attacks him in his suit, starts battling with him. They go out to the entrance ramp, and before he goes through the curtain, he says, get me a referee, and they're going to have a match. Cody Rhodes, of course, gets some good moves in. It's a little back and forth. They go outside the ring. Eventually, they get back in the ring. Cody hits a crossroads. 1, 2, 3. Rhodes picks up a well-deserved win. Once again, Raw and WWE going back to their roots of actually having backstage segments and interactions that lead to matches that night. There doesn't need to be a long, drawn-out story or angle that leads to a match that night. It can just be a backstage segment where someone is talking smack about the other. They come and beat them up and say, well, why don't you face me tonight? This was absolutely perfect. And then we had the 6-woman tag team match between the team of Asuka, Nikki Cross, and Carmella versus Natalya, Raquel Rodriguez, and Liv Morgan. Nothing really to run home about this. I did want to make a quick comment on the picture-in-picture once again. They came back whenever there just wasn't much going on. Carmella had somewhat of a body lock on Natalya. Thought maybe they would have told him to speed it up whenever they came back, but maybe that's just something that I'm used to whenever I was watching as a kid, coming back from commercial, and they'd be moving real fast and doing the spots. We don't have to get into that whole thing, but eventually Asuka got the win, and as stated in a previous predictions video, Asuka is now my favorite to win that Elimination Chamber match, and if it's not Asuka, it has to be Raquel Rodriguez. Moving on, we had a backstage segment where Bronson Reed came in. If I'm being honest, I missed a good bit of it. I don't remember exactly what happened between Otis and Chad Gable, Maxine Dupree, but Bronson Reed was shown, and then we had a match between Bronson Reed and Mustafa Ali. This was a great match. It didn't last very long, but there were some good points in it. It got to the outside, and you had throwing into the chair. What a throw that was into the ring announcer section, where he almost landed him pretty much perfectly into that chair. That was absolutely great. I loved that. He dragged him back in. Ali was able to get a beautiful DDT on him, went for one of his signature moves, ended up messing it up, and then Bronson Reed goes to the top rope, doesn't stand there too long. As soon as he gets to the top rope, he jumps off, gets the pin, gets the win. Great win for Bronson Reed, and great momentum going into Elimination Chamber. Then we had the Miz TV segment. The Miz comes out, and then we have Seth Rollins come out, and immediately I'm thinking, what the hell is he wearing on his feet? Thankfully, the Miz addressed this and said, what are those? Those big red shoes? We never really got clarification other than Rollins saying it's style, man, or whatever he said. And finally, Seth gets addressed when it comes to Logan Paul. They finally have to have Seth address the Logan Paul question. What do we do about Logan Paul? And Seth Rollins gets into it and says, that's why. He's pointing at the WrestleMania sign. I was going to be able to main event WrestleMania. That's my dream, was to close out WrestleMania, and Logan Paul took it from me. And then we got into a back and forth between Rollins and Miz. Eventually, it turned into a physical altercation. Rollins attacked Miz. I guess Rollins is a babyface at this point. It just seems so odd the way he interacts. It's like as if he's a default babyface because of his music. But aside from that, he attacks Miz, starts taking him out. Then Austin Theory pulls him out from under the ring. Rollins hits him, goes back, curb stomps the Miz, and then Theory does his finisher on Rollins. And then we build to the next segment, which is Rick Boogs versus The Miz. So Boogs makes his entrance, and Miz gets on the microphone immediately and says, do you know what just happened? I just got my butt kicked. We're not going to have this match. And then Boogs completely dismisses that, gets a hold of The Miz. He starts doing the curls, gets the crowd along with it. This is a very short match. Hits a big move, gets the 1, 2, 3. Great win for Boogs. Good heat for Miz. And then we move on to Chelsea Green backstage with Adam Pearce. Chelsea Green, of course, is doing her Karen gimmick of complaining to Adam Pearce constantly about not getting the opportunity, whatever it is. This time she is complaining and saying that she should be involved in the match, the triple threat between Bianca, Becky, and Bayley. Adam Pearce responds to her saying she feels threatened and just leaves, and we end the segment there. Alright, and then we have another backstage segment with the Judgment Day after beating down Beth Phoenix and Edge, mainly Beth Phoenix, but they had a backstage segment, and the main takeaway from this is Dominik Mysterio has the most heat of this group. Whenever they go to Dominik Mysterio for a question, the fans start to rain down the boos. There is something to be done here. Of course, you would think that they're going to lead to a match between Dominik and Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. That's the direction I think it should go in, and you can go from there in terms of how you build Dominik. But of course, they promoted Rhea Ripley challenging Charlotte Flair for the title at WrestleMania, and Damian Priest, of course, challenging for the United States title inside the Elimination Chamber as well. And then we had the main event of Monday Night Raw. The Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair took on Becky Lynch and Bayley. And if Becky Lynch and Bayley won, they would get added to the Elimination Chamber bout to get a shot at the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania against Bianca Belair. During the match, Damage Control, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai would get involved, which led to other members of the women's locker room getting involved themselves and distracting them and battling them. Eventually, of course, Bianca Belair would get the win, pinning Bayley to get the 1, 2, 3 and get the win in this bout, as she ensured that those 6 that are in the Elimination Chamber would stay the 6 in the Elimination Chamber and challenge her for the Raw Women's title if they are to win. Be sure to let me know what you guys think of this Monday Night Raw and this review. That's all I've got. I'll see y'all later.